Hi, everybody, and welcome to Red Wings Rant, where tirades and passion pleas for your Detroit Red Wings finally have a home. We are watching live the Red Wings with a 5-4 lead on my screen. 4 minutes to go against the St. Louis Blues.
Oh, man, I'm at 4:47. Damn it.
All right. Well, I'm going to know what's... Well, I guess I'll do a 40-second delay for all of my announcements.
Based on our usual production quality, that shouldn't be an issue for us.
Yeah, this is right on par. Like, for the two of us, if we both are reacting to the same thing but just 40 seconds apart, that would be right on par. Like if I react to the empty net goal that hopefully is coming up here in 3 minutes, and then 40 seconds later you're like, another one.
We already got some of the boys on here. Performance art. What's up, bud? Jared. Performance art. You can see Kane is about to burst with production. Can I say I haven't... no audio, boys. Oh, don't want a copyright strike. Thanks, Dan. I was just going to touch on performance art real quick while we're watching the
don't touch him
live.
Oh, good. Woo. Andrew Kopp. Let's watch this penalty here.
I am alive. Hey,
Holding,
once again,
looking.
I've survived another week here.
That's there's a conversation. There's a conversation going on in the Discord where the boys are. They want you to join. They love you.
Oh, I sent you a message because I told you the link didn't work, and that was 6 weeks ago. You never responded.
Generating a new link now that never expires. I'm posting it into the YouTube comments, and please, ladies and gentlemen, come join us.
I need you to text it to me. I'm going to be on my phone.
How the...
Come on.
Mike, how could I possibly text you? Hey, can we do this? Can we...
I don't know. That smells like another copyright. Yeah.
Is that a problem?
In fact, don't open your eyes too wide in case they can see the reflection of the game.
Just for the podcast listeners, Matt just realized he can spin his screen to being on camera. But yeah, that's an issue. So first one.
Curtis, come on, man. Don't call me a non-Discord using goober. I'm old. It's hard to learn new apps.
Jared,
Mike
is actually a hologram.
Puck
out of the zone.
Art, by the way. Because that power play, Matt, I can't remember the last time we had a Red Wing just like control the whole play the way Kane does. Maybe since Pavel. No, he doesn't play defense like Pavel. There's nobody. I mean, that's a pretty short list, right?
I know. I think I know what you're saying.
He just stops the puck, and everybody's just like, I'm terrified to move toward him defensively, and offensively, he's gonna find me. So I'm just gonna, get a touch pass going past the goalie here.
That's one of the many chats we were having in the Discord. Was how incredible it is that the entire Blues penalty kill, not great, first of all, against any team they play. But they are particularly scared of Patrick Kane. And, regardless of what we're going to get out of Kane production-wise, that's something that's, just the threat of Patrick Kane seems to be doing wonders right now. Because, sure, we got a power play goal in this game, but we've seen it. We've seen it since Kane joined the team. When he's on the ice, he does. Oh my God, the way that Patrick Kane moves on the ice, like when you used to watch it, and he was a Chicago Blackhawk, you just be like, this fucking piece of shit, just like doing these little circles around. He's barely moving. Somebody go wipe his goddamn face into the ice.
Power play, it's almost like he still has the hip injury. Like he's just standing there, and they're terrified of him.
But now that he's a Red Wing and you watch him do that, you're just like, oh, it's so methodical.
He really is like the Undertaker. That he carries. He just has to stand there, and you're like, my God, what do we do?
Jared throwing out there, Kane was a division rival with this team. That's why I did want to point out, like, it does feel like this has been the Patrick Kane reaction we've seen so far. So not just limited to this game. Like if Kane is on the ice, maybe even not for the power play. We've seen some 5-on-5. Oh, here we go. Rasmussen on the break. Woo! Woo! Empty netter.
Jared, I think you and I are at the same spot because I'm still watching a timeout. So hopefully
Oh,
things go well in our version of the game.
all right. Well, in my reality, it's 6-4 Detroit. Blues fans are getting
Hey,
up. They're angry. They're gonna walk out of here, even though they still have a power play.
could be a 6-on-4.
Could be. It is. That's how we made it. That's how we made it 6-4. Veleno with a great play, by the way. Just my eyes are so terrible. I can't tell who he's dogging, but that was all Veleno. And Rasmussen does a nice job. This puck was just shot down the ice by Veleno after he. He did everything to get the puck back
You know, he
for the
could have not
Wings.
touched it and let Veleno get credit for that goal. But
I think he needed to
I
finish.
think he could have just
that was
he could
definitely
have
going
boxed him
wide.
out NBA style and then let Veleno get the credit he deserved.
That was definitely going wide. That I don't know, but we have been having conversations, about what to do on the first line, and this was when Dylan Larkin wasn't injured, and we'll get into that, folks. I really think Joe Veleno is turning into a Joe Veleno I'd like to see more and more often right now. And the Joe Veleno we just saw on the penalty kill there, that was beautiful. I don't know. I might be falling in love.
I have
Oh, that's
no
Jordan
qualms.
Kyrou. That's
I
who
have
it
no
was.
qualms with him on the penalty kill, but sometimes his power play stuff. I know it's so new to him because he never ever gets shifts on the power play. I think that's
Well,
going to be when everybody's healthy. It's going to be a harder line for him to crack because he's not better than Comfort or Larkin at all.
Well, I'll say this. Veleno did have the good play today that it got out to Lucas Raymond out front, and
Yeah.
that was Raymond's goal.
Also, how good has Raymond been tonight, you guys? Holy crap! Like he really looks inspired losing his his hero out there, and by that I mean Larkin being on the injured reserve for a week. He looks 100% like inspired.
Yeah. Let's do a couple of these. First, Jared throwing out there, Veleno, gorgeous. Dan B, really appreciate you boys doing this late night content. I really appreciate you guys being on because this is purely like, number one, I didn't know if you guys would be interested, but the schedule at my house this week, I missed the first two periods because we did awards for our company, and I don't know how many people work for giant companies. I know Mike just experienced his company's awards day. Mike, I just sat at the Masonic Temple for 6
Ooh.
hours watching people
Wow.
get awards. That was not. I'll just say this: I like the paycheck I get from Rocket. I like a lot of things about that job. That was not one of my favorite things to watch people get awards for 6 hours. That was rough.
Matt didn't mean
But
it. Guys, we have a big guest tonight. One of the head honchos at Rocket. Listening in tonight.
yeah, no, this will be the night that happens. All right. Wingdings win 6-4.
Dan Gilbert the whole time. That'd be great.
Oh God, Dan, is that true? Are you actually Dan Gilbert?
Is that B short for Gilbert?
You were just waiting for the day I'd slip up.
What's up, Timmy? What a win! Let's go.
Wasn't expecting.
By the way, I don't know which broadcast you listened to today, but the ESPN one was pretty Red Wing leaning. Because they like when there's a star that people recognize, so they like telling stories about Patrick Kane,
for sure,
and calling him the greatest American-born hockey player in the history of the sport,
over and over and over.
And they have some nice things to say about Sider, Raymond. The only thing that really baffled me is I don't know when we're going to talk about this, but and Clapsaw saying nice win by the boys
in regulation.
To me that I think was it the NFL who started cutting down on in instances where people get injured, they do not show a replay. And I'm astounded how many times I've seen Larkin get hit in the back of the head, and every broadcast is showing it multiple times and in slow motion.
Yeah. I don't know. Do we want to get deep into that, or do we want to talk more about this victory?
We could give a few minutes to the victory. It's still how many? Is it 2 straight games where he gave up shorthanded goals or 3?
Feels
That's
like 3 straight games.
yeah. I mean, there's not really much you can do on a broken hockey stick, but it just
Well, what conversation comes into play with that? It's just like shit like that is going to happen, right? And what are you going to do?
yeah,
Uh, but that's where you need a couple of those other shots to get stopped, right? Like we can't just make, and I know you're not doing this, but we can't just make the excuse, which I do see this on Twitter a lot, of like, well, that one's not Huso's fault. That one's not Reimer's fault. And even a couple times, guys, we have said that one's not Lyon's fault. Like that can't always be the case. So we give up 4 goals to St. Louis. We don't want to do that, right? And I'm just saying I want that realization to come into play. Like we're trying to figure out where this team can be upgraded, and if Larkin is here, if Perron is here, if Comfer's here, those goaltenders are still back there sucking ass majorly. So that's something we got to keep in mind when we're thinking about upgrading this team. And upgrading goaltending is always like the most rough thing in the world. Yeah, it's such a crapshoot. Mike and I were just talking about it before we went live, where it's like um, you could trade for a new goalie, and when we'll talk about that later in the episode. But sometimes maybe you're just better off crossing your fingers that your own guy figures it out, because transferring good goaltender play from one team to another is almost never going to happen. It almost never happens. You can't even get goalies season to season to perform well. Red Wings can't get goalies to perform well in one season. So it
we have a
is
lot of issues with that. Yeah.
it is one hell of a it's one hell of a position that has been a problem since the show has started. But again, just to recap, I know we're live
I will
now.
say too,
Yeah.
like while we're still on that thread, I think Lalone was the first person to say, it's nice for scoring goals, but I think guys are getting a little too excited to score goals, and that's why we give up so many. Um, but I don't feel like we're getting really a showstopper, game from our goaltending yet. So I'm gonna just piggyback your point that shorthanded goals do happen. It just it just I just wish that it didn't feel like such an avalanche after that, where suddenly bang bang bang, like 2 other easy, I don't want to say easy, but goals that could have been stopped go in.
Yeah, and I'm showing off the like you said, guys are excited to score right now. Showing off the Berggren goal. I think that's another uh fun discussion point to jump into, because now Berggren's got 2 goals in 2 games. We've had some chat on the Discord about I guess some guys that are on the trade block. Would you trade Berggren? But I'll say this: this is 2 straight games for Berggren. If we could talk about this one real quick, right place, right time. He's putting pucks in the back of the net, because I think this is a cat who's going to get smarter, but he always seems to be in the right place at the right time. This is 2 straight games where that would be the first comment I have for Berggren. That is not, and that is not like anybody could do this. I'm saying that he is putting himself in the right place, right time. How many times last year, Mike, did we see Berggren getting power play goals on the side of the net, and the rebound would go right to his stick, boom, back of the net? That is an incredible asset to have on your team. And this isn't a power play goal. This is Berggren making it 2-1 is the replay we were watching for all the podcast listeners. This is 2 straight games though. Hockey smarts was always something called out for Steve Yzerman when him and his team are trying to create their draft pool. I do see you laughing, so I'm curious what you're seeing. But I think this is huge, and it's one thing too. I think it's good to have on your hockey team. Another thing too, if we're looking to upgrade this defense, like we were just talking about, and
I
you're trying to market like which one of your guys on your team can help my team. I think Berggren's showing off something where I just said goaltending. Can you just transfer goaltending? Boom, boom, like one spot to another. It's
yeah.
so difficult. A guy knowing to be in the right place at the right time, maybe that's about team chemistry. Obviously, some of that's mixed in there.
I
But
I
you can
got
learn that and put yourself in the right place at the right time when that team is shooting. So this is a very, very movable talent that we have identified. We talked about last season. This isn't something new. We talked about it last season. It just
oh
seems
my
like,
god.
now we got called back up and it's 2 straight games.
Bedard scored already against McDavid.
Nice.
The passing of the torch has begun. No, I'm just getting more grief in the chat from me not being in the Discord. That's what had me laughing.
Oh,
But it's as far as trading Berggren, I don't think that he's getting moved for a goalie. He's probably getting moved for somebody on defense. And it further blows my mind that this Red Wing lineup tonight was it 11-7, 7 defensemen. The only reason I ask is, the narrative of why Edvinsson is, still hanging out in Grand Rapids is we just don't have the minutes for him at the NHL level. And not just performance based, but if we're also divvying out minutes to 7 human beings, I mean, we could just give this guy 2 of those guys minutes worth, and I think we'd be okay.
yeah, you are right.
Doing offensively, he looks pretty comfortable doing that. And we're not even going to ask him to run a power play yet. And he honestly can't be any worse than some of the plays that we've had defensively. So it's getting tougher and tougher to defend, keeping him, under wraps. And it's no longer met. My concern for a while was the Jacob Turner effect, where you don't want to expose a guy who's doesn't actually have it. And that's a Tigers reference from like 05 when we traded him for a Cabrera, and then he never made it to the Major League Baseball. Clampsaw saying burgers for a D-man when we already have too many. We have a large quantity of defensemen who are in their 30s. I don't know if we have a lot of quality defensemen. So I got to think, maybe you'd be finding a way to get like a sexy Berggren who plays defense instead of scoring goals.
Yeah, and
somebody kind of more in that age group.
And I think, like most teams, you're trying to upgrade on that right side of the D. You've got Sider, but it's tough to find like a consistent option. Goss Despair is really helping on the offensive side. But you see, like, even the holes on the first pair, like, I couldn't look at any of the defensive pairings and say, like, I've been 100% happy with all of them all the time. Wallman has shown that he'll get demoted every now and then. No, so it's like we penned that in as like the Wallman Sider pairing done, and then oh man, did he fuck up within the last week. So it's like that exists. We don't and to have like one fuck up, yeah, right, and that's fine. But it's not like we're talking like Norris Trophy for Wallman, and he had a bad game. We're talking about a pretty serviceable guy who does the job. He works well with Sider. He's not terrible. I'm not trying to get rid of Wallman. I think to Mike's point, yes, quantity, number, high. Quality, yeah, not great. And I mean, you could.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say you could really flip these 6 defensemen, or I should say the 3 pairings. You could really flip it on its head here if we could add something to any of these pairings to give them an upgrade, and also see some transferability of what Edvinsson's doing in the minors and bring that up. Because we were told, like, at some point, Edvinsson's going to get his shot. Like, I believe those words came out of Yzerman's mouth. So this entire defensive side of the roster could get turned on its head with a couple moves. And a couple of guys get shaken up and, moving to different spots on on their own list, on their own listing, these different pairings, like maybe getting paired with somebody else, maybe that turns them on. But couple moves here, this could get completely flipped on its head, and you could have 3 reliable pairings. But right now, I couldn't tell you guys that I see 3 reliable pairings. And I'm gonna whisper this part because I have all the confidence in the world. Give him his double-digit contract, but like Sider's been fucking up too recently, so it's like even to that's our best defenseman. We all have no doubt in our mind, but we've seen some turnovers recently, and it's not to say that I've lost trust.
Is that maybe who Lalone was calling out? When he was saying guys are getting a little excited for goals. Oh no, Jared unsubscribed just for that one whisper.
Damn it. God. All right. Sorry, Jared. We'll see you in the Discord.
I did want to hear my buddy Decoy, my wrestling buddy, say Petrie playing like Todd Jones. He also kind of reminds me of Joaquin Benoit against the Red Sox because he's just teeing him up to go flying over the fence. And Jared, yeah, I do want to touch on that again because ESPN, the broadcast is saying Sider and Wallman one of the best pairings in the league. I don't know if they saw that recent story about Wallman getting demoted, but I think it's at least mentioning Matt because it was kind of a positive pro Red Wing broadcast, which I can't remember the last. Even when we watch Lions games, I still feel like maybe it's because the Lions are playing like crap in the past like month, but they're kind of like. We expected more from this team. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and it's not to say either. Like, how do I want to put this? Yeah, I mean, I already said it. Like, it's not like I'm losing trust in Sider at all. It's just one of those things where it's not like there is. It has been 100% lockdown when you put the first pairing out there, and you can't. Okay, 100%. You can't expect that from anybody. Victor Hedman's going to give up goals even in his heyday. It's just, it's one of those conversations. That first pairing, it will be elevated if you're elevating pairing 2 and pairing 3. And I'm not saying anything new here, but that's part of the conversation I'm trying to have here. If you can alleviate some of that stress, maybe you're bringing somebody else that could do some of the dirty work that Mort Sider's asked to do on special teams, and we're not relying on him so much in so many different areas of I don't know, everything that's going on with the Red Wings. We have to ask him to play like the last 6 minutes of every game because we trust him. And again, not losing trust, but it's one of those things like if we can upgrade that second pairing, that third pairing just a little bit, it's gonna push
kind of
everybody
like how
up.
the offense has just felt like it's levels above, and all we did was add Kane, but now it feels like there's just a noticeable trickle-down effect where, we're scoring a lot of goals outside of, the game where we were decimated by depth, losing Perron and Fabry and Larkin. But, I mean, this game, the Sharks game, it's pretty inspiring stuff offensively, Matt. So I know that we got a couple grumpies in our diapers, right? A couple grumpies with, our defense not kind of, playing where we'd like them, our goaltending not quite being where we want it. But we could still give some flowers to this offense. And especially today, too, this kind of felt like some of the boys were inspired to kind of play for Larkin a little bit. I think we talked about Raymond briefly, but Rasmussen, I thought, had a pretty good game today where he kept some plays in the offensive zone, actually taking advantage of his rather large body that most other human beings who play hockey do not possess, and using it to his advantage, Matt. So I don't know if that's really going to continue, if it's really going to blossom, if Matt's just going to show pictures of his kids.
Jared said, "What's my background?" So I said, "It's my kids."
Look at 50% of them are smiling. That's nice.
That's actually a Photoshop. They wouldn't smile when they were together. So I took one image where Teddy wasn't crying and an image where Addie was smiling, and I put them together with the magic of Photoshop.
Thanks, Photoshop.
Yeah, no, it gave us a beautiful picture, the two kids.
By the
Yeah,
way,
that's my
somebody
background.
dropping a little bit of tea here. Brand new, who we don't hear from very frequently. Brand new, how you doing? Said he just saw the Blues put Vrana on waivers today. So Matt, we
Yeah.
can bring him back.
Oh boy. Yeah,
Probably not.
that's interesting. Right. Like just another one bites the dust for Verana. If anything, you just kind of like feel for him at this point. Like the conversation for any team that's like, I don't know, should we think about it? Like that's like Chicago, right? Like Blackhawks should have that conversation. Um, those really shitty teams like Ottawa. Ottawa should have that conversation. But not the Red Wings. We're above that now.
By the way, one of our many Dans, Dan Bergeron, saying, "Get a DNA test, Matt. They look more like me."
Wow, Jesus.
Roast them up, boys! Roast them up!
That
Woo!
one's
Curtis
pure
coming in
evil.
hot. Cute
Dan.
kids, you know the daddy. Got
Yeah,
him.
I guess it's Mike. I'll have to ask my wife about it. Hey, everybody says our kids look like Mike and they don't look like me.
There's a picture, you guys, of little Matt, and he looks identical to Teddy. So
Clomp Sauce, I think, is on my side. He's like, Jesus Christ, guys, take it easy. Thanks, Clompy. He does want to know if that's a family name. He will be the first of his kind. He will take
Teddy number one.
Yeah, Teddy number one. Yep. Curtis says we do a lot more roasting on the Discord. Right, Mike, you're missing out on how often I get roasted.
Ooh, I don't want to miss that. I mean, this game, Matt, offensively pretty positive. And it's just kind of been some trends that we've seen all season where the defense kind of leaves more to be desired. So, I mean, Berggren getting called up to play and getting put in spots where he can score goals. And the way this team refuses to call up Edvinsson, it almost feels more like Berggren's just getting a showcase for other teams to watch him at the NHL level rather than, hey, this guy's going to be here when we're fully healthy. It feels like he's going to be on the way out.
Yeah, this is very interesting, actually. I'm taking.
Decoy said your kids look like Barry Windham.
Wow.
Little Windham kids.
Thanks, guys. This part's interesting because this we're talking about our own goalie problems. The Wings actually got outchanced 5-on-5 tonight. Like if we took a look at the expected goals for percentage, it's actually St. Louis that was dominating, save for Oli Mata, who was by far our best player on the ice tonight from a chances perspective. And considering he's put in defensive situations first, that's actually incredible. That Oli Mata is going to walk away 90% in his 12 minutes of play, 5-on-5. All chances going towards St. Louis, but everyone else is sort of the opposite, which means it's actually Ville Husso outplayed Jordan. Obviously on the scoreboard we can see that, but from a goals saved above expected, Ville Husso outplayed Jordan Binnington, a minus 0.54, so still not great, to Jordan Binnington's minus 1.53. So
not good.
Right, we get to play a little bit of a game here where we still offensively, with everybody being out, we still look a little more skilled than St. Louis right now. Getting that shooting percentage up above, but of course we know St. Louis has that shitty penalty kill, and that certainly helped us out tonight. But yeah, it's kind of interesting looking at this. I don't know if there's too much you could take away from this game statistically, but like you mentioned, Berggren scoring is nice to see. But yeah, across the board, we got shellacked 5-on-5. Not great.
That's kind of our thing, though. We like turning it on for the special teams, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't know if you wanted to touch on a couple of the slides here, because I know we haven't really dove into those, and we're already pushing 30 minutes.
No, you're right. Let's do this real quick. I'm gonna destroy our count right now, but we're gonna run through DraftKings ad that's gonna feature game lines from last week's hockey games. But please don't go away. We'll be right back. I promise. We're going to talk Dylan Larkin and all that fucking bullshit that happened against Ottawa. Bet the action on ice with DraftKings Sportsbook. Guys, we know Patrick Kane is going to be wearing the winged wheel against the San Jose Sharks on Thursday, December 7th. Right now, Red Wings are at a minus 298 on the money line and under 6.5, negative 102, over 6.5, negative 118. I don't know. Sharks give up a lot of goals. Red Wings aren't necessarily super responsible defensively. Just throwing that out there. Download the app now and use code THPN. New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on hockey. That's code THPN only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The crown is yours. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY. In Connecticut, help is available for problems gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2023. All rights reserved. All right, we only lost one viewer that time. So that's a win.
What's funny is you were doing the phone number, I think, and you almost lost it for a second, and you almost went 77 Smitty Werman Man Jensen. Like, you almost SpongeBobbed out on that one.
I could feel when I had like spit building up. Like when I did it again here, I was like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Like every time I hear that, I feel it.
Oh,
okay,
God. Are we watching it?
Yeah, we can watch a little bit here.
Oh, God. Okay.
JT Comfort, Klim Costin. Let's go with Costin. Dylan Larkin. Oh, of course, devastating. Matt Luff, been out since October 8th. How have we survived?
Huge news.
And of course, David Perron out for 6 with a suspension, which we did here tonight. He is appealing.
You guys looking at this list, and Matt's just showing this to us, you kind of get a grasp. It's going to be about 7 days without the D man. Did that Larkin moment when he was laying prone, did you guys have the same thought I did, where you don't want to be the old man on the porch where it's like, we need more enforcers. This used to be a physical game, and now they're out there scoring goals, and I don't like it. But just for like a 5-minute window, I really wanted an enforcer on our team.
And that,
I wanted like McCarty to come out of the stands and put somebody else's jersey on and just throw a couple fists and then go back into the booth.
Yeah, the rest of the conversations that night, if they weren't about arguing whether or not that was a target from Matthew Joseph, then it was, wow, what a shitty night for Klim to be out of the lineup. Like getting 8 minutes a night just in case there's a fight, and now he's hurt. Undisclosed, listed on Hockey Reference. Not sure if there's been an official update. Probably just upper body. So somewhere from the waist up, he's hurt.
It usually means we got hit in the wiener.
Upper body is hitting the wiener? That's lower body.
No, not if you put it up over your belt.
If you flip up your boner up into your belt buckle?
That's upper body.
Okay.
But I think Jared said it best. I thought he was dead. I was at a Christmas party. This is going to be a moment where it's like, I remember where I was when.
Yeah.
I was at a Christmas party, and there's probably 20 of us just kind of talking, having our own conversations. And someone brought it up, and we thought that we watched like another death on the ice. Like, we're not that removed from that idiot super kicking somebody in the throat. And I thought that Larkin died. Even when he got up and his arms weren't moving, it looked really bad.
Yeah, it is. Over the last few years, it's like my least favorite thing I've seen so far. Like the last time Matthew Joseph attacked Dylan Larkin in a spot that the rest of the league knows he has a problem, Dylan got right up and swung at him. This was not fun. And we have had discussions actually in the Discord. There's a video going around on YouTube. A doctor trying to make a call. There are some parties who might think that's, it's a tiny bit irresponsible to throw out guesses. But it is an educated guess. It's just one of those things. As a doctor, it's not exactly the most responsible thing in the world to have a YouTube page where without seeing the patient, you just kind of throw out your best guess. But anywho, his best guess was that there was a nerve, actually, I believe, on the back of the neck. And when it's pinched, possibly by blunt force, human can actually pass out. Just sort of instantly.
That was like a known UFC weak spot, like right underneath your jaw.
Yeah,
like that's kind of where headlock
totally possible. Totally possible.
By the way, Jared with a great chirp at you, Matt. Matt talking his wife down from running her own YouTube channel.
Very irresponsible to do that, you guys. Very, very irresponsible. If you have a podcast studio in your home, don't take advantage of it.
I will say with that ESPN broadcast, it was very pro Red Wings. However, I was surprised, and maybe this is just because the commissioner was part of the broadcast tonight, that the overall consensus is that the most egregious sin was by David Perron for taking 6 steps and hitting, obviously, the wrong player, right?
Yeah.
He gave a receipt to the wrong guy.
And Artem Zub plays in the very next shift, I believe. So he was just oh my God, just decimated by the attack from the evil David Perron that he needed. I don't know, commercial break.
It's not like David Perron is Draymond Green out there,
right?
Like kicking people in the balls and stomping them on the chest. Like it's David Perron, man.
And it does create like this circle. It's like the NHL going like, well, whose fault is it that David Perron feels like he needs to attack a player when his captain gets hurt? Like they're just like eventually pointing the finger back at themselves, which I think is like there's 2 problems here. Number one, this is my official stance on this. This doesn't have to be Mike's stance. This should be seen as a pattern of aggressive targeted action. It's the same spot. Matthew Joseph targeting the same player in a vulnerable spot. Player has that should say a known history of injuries with aggression. And I shared this replay, which is going to be tough because this is it's like a copy of a copy, so it's not going to work right now.
The behind the net shot where it looks like Joseph.
I don't have it up right now. We could go look for it, but what do you?
I don't want you to look for it if you don't. Yeah,
what's up?
But I mean, it looks like he's looking at Larkin's neck and head and hitting him. And what I've heard is people saying, "Oh, it was an accident." Guys are moving all over the place, but it's not like his eyes were closed and he had like ice chips in his eye. Like he knew where he was aiming. It's kind of hard for me to defend, and I'm kind of surprised that angle wasn't used to determine fines and or lengthening of suspension.
Yeah, it did to me feel like not only was he looking at the neck, but it looked like he took a beat. Like he was going to select one spot and instead moved. And what I don't get is somebody like Biz Nasty sharing on Twitter how it's not like it was a cross check. And I don't like, those are his words. I don't understand when it became okay to go, or I'm sorry, it wasn't a cross check to the back of the head. Like it was like, oh, it's the neck. And I was thinking, what the when did the neck become like that? Is also an extremely vulnerable part of the body. No protection, by the way. If we're watching the replay here, we don't even need to. We're looking at the picture right here. No protection on the neck. It's not. This isn't. At least it wasn't the head. That is. Some may argue a worse spot to get hit. I'm just the amount of protection actually on said head compared to the neck, like from your body, your actual skull, being able to protect your head is not here on the neck. More vulnerable.
Yeah, I
I don't
mean
know
it
if we would.
only basically ended the careers of, Bret Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin, you know, Edge for a while, Brian Danielson for a while, and you're out for years. It's pretty painful, and I'm doing that for Decoy.
Well,
All the
it's
wrestling drops.
and Biz. Oh, and Decoy. I just pulled up. Decoy throws out there. Biz is a loser, and that it's true. But when he goes out there and throws his nonsense, um, people who aren't going to take that extra second to see what's going on, they're just looking for like their own opinion to make them feel safe and cuddly and warm, and they're just like, no, the NHL's good. The NHL does no wrong. And then Biz says that where you'd think like sure, he's on TNT, so maybe he's being more pro NHL, but that's supposed to be. And I again, Decoy, I don't disagree with you. He's a fucking idiot, but that's supposed to be our representative, right? Like he's on that panel, and there's fucking Wayne Gretzky on that panel, who's actually really good, by the way, at hockey analysis. You think sometimes the super duper like greatest of all time wouldn't be? He's really good. Bissonnette is supposed to be our representative, and I will define it this way because he fucking sucked at hockey. So we don't. He's not up there being the Wayne Gretzky of hockey. He's up there as the beer league fucking loser, and then he has this pro NHL take that he could argue all day. It's not a pro NHL take, but it is because it's just defending this idea that like, well, the rules that are in place and the other side of the, things we can't forget too is that the NHL defends itself all day, every day, that you don't get concussions in the NHL, or at least they haven't admitted, as every other sport has done that has physical contact, that you can get a concussion from that physical contact. The NHL is still strong in their stance that all the science isn't in yet to keep themselves nice and safe and warm. So when our representative that works on TNT takes the stance he took, it's just a fucking waste of time. And you're right, Decoy. He's a fucking loser. And I guess I shouldn't rely on him anymore to be a representative for the beer leaguer, the fan. He's just a NHL shill. There's my Red Wings rant for this week.
Yeah. It's I don't know, it's just tough for me because it feels like the ruling was based on a math problem, and the hit that Larkin received took 0 strides because they're already next to each other. And because one was 0 strides, and we've written down if you do a cross check, that's a 2-minute penalty. And if you take multiple strides and hit somebody, that's a suspension. It just, that's nice that you put a math problem together, but I don't know if I'm
Yeah, this was Max
like
Boltman's take.
the optics of it. You know what I mean? The optics
That's
of it.
100%. There was the
Of
guy
let's do
that
the eyeball test, and let's see one guy kind of get whacked and then play like you said in the next shift, and the other guy's out for a week
it's
because he passed out in a terrifying display.
it's a direct correlation with the idea that the NHL is not ready to admit that concussions and head injuries can come from playing in the NHL, because everyone's arguing that was a like that's a play to clear out the ice. So if they
And
start
also,
punishing Matthew Joseph the way I think he should be punished for a targeted attack when he could choose so many different ways to get Dylan Larkin out of the crease, that's the NHL admitting that this sport is not regulated properly and way too fucking dangerous. Where what
and
they
I'll say
needed to do,
too,
go ahead.
like, oh, I was just gonna say too, because I think the best example of this currently is Draymond Green, because referees are basically like they know going in when you referee a Golden State Warriors game, you either have to give the guy a free technical foul, because he's going to talk and bitch and moan the whole game, because worse stuff is coming. And now when punishments get dropped on him, it's because he's a repeat offender. And based on Joseph, the collective, it's because I was at this party, Matt, and it was people who were kind of like jogging their memory, like, wait, didn't this happen to Larkin like a season or two ago? Yeah, who was it that time? Oh, it was the same fucking guy. Like, it feels
Right.
like that should be documented and factored into like the repercussions of this happening again. Where you create a terrifying scene on the ice, and it makes your product look bad. That one of the superstars of the league is face down unconscious. You cause that to happen. There should be real repercussions. There should be real receipts from the league.
Ken Cal called out too that idea, right? If this is Connor Bedard, if this is Connor McDavid, and it happens like tonight on like ESPN, the league's gonna shut down for a week. They're like, no hockey, we got to figure this shit out. I do want to call out. Klopsauce is like, sucked is strong. He played in the Nationals. However, he was wrong, and that's of course Biz. Klomp, get on board. We're all mad at Biz. He sucked. And then Jared throws out there, Riley Shan has more right to be a commentator. Cue applause. Jared, very nice. Very
By
nice.
the way, every time we say optics, we have to acknowledge that we only use that word because of Kendall Roy. But anyway, go ahead. Not Succession.
Yeah, Dan B throwing out there the quote. MD Dr. Batman said there's no correlation between CTI and punches to the head.
Dan B with perhaps comment of the episode. Thank you, Dan B.
Jared throwing out there, Cousins should have been suspended. That's a great call out. And they suspend for the nobody's going to protect me in this fucking league, so I'm going to retaliate. They have no problem suspending for that. Because how dare you retaliate in what is a part of hockey?
It's just, okay. It's just so fucking hypocritical because they discourage fighting. Whoever starts the fight, you get an extra penalty. And it's like, why did Perron do what he did? Because the best player in this whole goddamn city across most of our sports was knocked unconscious by what I still think is a dirty play. There's the angle from behind the net where it looks like he's targeting the neck.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't understand how you're going to get on your high horse and discourage fighting. But then when Perron is showing some real camaraderie and saying, my God, my blood brother is literally unconscious in a pile. I want to stand up for him. That's the punishment. Not the repeat offender who started this shit.
So
it blows my mind.
Yeah, my first response to Perron getting suspended 6 games was just like, okay, makes sense.
He hit the wrong guy, and he took 6 strides and hit him with a stick in the face. Yep, you should get some sort of suspension.
And you know what that is? Let's prevent the next guy from making that choice. But the problem is that, and this is what I said, was it's too bad the league doesn't try to make a safer environment for their players. So Perron didn't feel the need to act the way he did. Because again, it's admitting that they're doing wrong. And I think that's what so many people are missing here. Like that's what the NHL is protecting right now, is what they've created. And they could make a safer NHL, and like we always see, like they're gonna wait to make a safer NHL for when something truly tragic, and we all know what I mean by that, but something truly tragic will happen, and then they will decide to make the NHL, I don't know, safer. But again, not safer. It's a PR play. It'll be, please don't leave the NHL. Please keep watching us.
Just on the coattails of what you said earlier. If it happens to one of the Connors.
Oh, Jared shared the behind the net. I know we are definitely getting removed from YouTube tonight. So I'll take a second here to pull this up, but we did have some other top. Oh my God! All right.
Are you able to share that one or no?
Well, I pulled up a toys ad for Ollie's Good Stuff Cheap.
Ooh. I like cheap
now
stuff. I
there
like
it
it even
is.
better when it's good.
That was kind of funny. All right, we'll stop sharing that screen. We can pull this up. We'll pull this up for just a second, but I like you'll like this video. What it says, it's like, look right here. Yeah. We get it. You're trying to get YouTube views. Kind of assholes trying to get YouTube views. This is a lot of Piran stuff. Jared, are you sending us Senators propaganda? All right, so there it is. Is that? Oh no, that's not behind the net.
No, there's one behind the net where you can kind of see them. Damn.
Like
Yeah,
Larkin's already.
Yeah, we'll have to do some vetting. We'll probably have it for the next episode.
Jared,
if we want to talk about this again.
I can't believe, Jared,
It's
you
okay,
just
we'll
sent
get
us
it next
Ottawa
time.
Senators propaganda. How dare you?
It's the most egregious sin is me because I brought it up and I didn't have it queued up. So that's my fault.
No, it's fine. We have we'll just jump ahead because we know who's been called up. We just watched. We've had 2 hockey games since Larkin's been out. But this is the one thing we haven't talked about yet, and we'll wrap up the show. Dave Pagnotta, we've brought him up a few times, is at the 4th period. Red Wings have been engaged. Tweeted out a few days ago, Red Wings have been engaged in trade talks lately, per source. Jonathan Berggren, who was scratched in today's Griffins game, still ongoing. One of the players believed to be in those discussions.
What if he was scratched because he was getting called up, though?
He went on to tweet, him getting called up will not affect this. That was like his next tweet the next day.
So he just doubled down on his claim.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will say this, without any sources, without any real connection here, because you'd think what he was trying to do here is say, like, he's scratched in the Griffins game because they're trying to move him tonight. That's kind of what he's going for here. So I want to do 2 things here. I want to call out, like, one of the things I think is possible we're looking at. But number 2, Dave, what the yeah, we all fucking know Berggren's on the trade block. What are you doing? This is nothing. Red Wings have been engaged in trade talks lately. Yeah, so is every other fucking team. And no shit, Berggren's on the get the fuck out of here, Dave. You suck, man.
Let him get some clicks. Give him a break, you know?
I don't get this shit. I mean, it brought up conversation for the Discord, but so it's good content for a Discord. I'll say that, but man, fuck you, Dave. Anyway,
not a friend of the show, I take it.
Goals saved above expected per 60. I brought up 4. Reimer, Alex Lyon, and Ville Husso. I do want to call out too. This is hilarious. This is before tonight, before Monday's game. So Reimer has come screaming down this list. Ville Husso will now be in the negative. He'll be in the negative. Goals saved above expected per 60. He will be in the negative per 60. This is his new number. So Husso not the answer.
That sounds not good.
Yeah. Reimer, again, he's at the top of this list per 60. I think this does include a pretty hot start for Reimer, and he's come screaming down. And after Monday's game,
Reimer
he's also further down this list.
With a high level of concern for head injuries, because when that puck was coming toward his head, he did get out of the way of that. So
very true. When he was over in Sweden, didn't want to get hit by who was that? Was that Stützle? So here's what we're looking at. Alex Lyon, serviceable so far. He's had some not so great goals get past him the last week or so, which is bound to happen for any goaltender. But overall, best looking dude so far this season. Pittsburgh sucks ass. Tristan Jarry.
Hey,
kind of the thing.
That's my fantasy team goalie. What are you doing?
Yeah, if you try to figure out what's going right for Pittsburgh, that's where you pull up Tristan Jarry. I think there's absolutely a conversation there. The one that makes more sense is a John Gibson. Of course, Verbeek as the GM over there, buddies with Stevie Y. And Anaheim always, right now they're just in the the zone that we were in a couple years ago of just like you got some guys that are movable, bringing some draft picks. Gibson would be one of those. He's had some pretty good games this year. And it would be nice to kind of look at you can see he's right underneath Alex Lyon here in goals saved above expected per 60. And the reason, I hope it's obvious. The reason we're not just looking at goals saved above expected is just because guys have played more minutes, played more games on this list here. But Gibson right underneath Lyon. It would be really nice to have back-to-back games, Lyon, Gibson turning in similar play out there. And of course, what we're trying to rule out as well with goals saved above expected and not just looking at straight save percentage is, you take a look at a team like Anaheim, who certainly had their struggles this year. You don't want to figure in that team's defense too much. So we're trying to eliminate that and just say the team's defense allowed this expected goals against. So based on that, what was the goaltender able to eliminate as an expected goals against and actually allow on the board? And that's where all of these gentlemen could make a play. Jake Allen, I just brought up to bring in some Montreal names because I know they've got their 3 goaltenders. Mrazek, just to kind of look at shitty Chicago. Actually, another one, Alex Nedeljkovic is also a backup for Pittsburgh. So if they're going to move one, they're probably going to want to move Ned. And where somebody said in the chat here, Carter Hart. But yeah.
Can I ask a weird question? Like, you're trying to give us to kind of get it in our headspace for contextual performance, right?
Yeah.
Like how a goalie's doing based on the defense around him. So, based on who Yzerman acquires for Berggren, is this an admission of, you know what, guys, I kind of screwed up with the way I've been scouting and valuing defensemen? Or is Yzerman going to be admitting, I don't know what I'm doing when I get goaltenders. I just get terrible ones and cross my fingers.
It would be one thing, like if we saw like some flashes, but we just had another 4 goals against tonight, and by all accounts, I've seen this from some of our counterparts. Like you and I had this conversation. We've had the chat on Discord with our buddies, and it's like, wouldn't you have kind of assumed we went out there and played some tighter defense? And the 5-on-5 numbers, they're not bad. They're not terrible, like measuring across the league. It's just, number one, yeah, these shorthanded goals, but it's like our goaltenders cannot stop an odd man rush, which again, the argument gets made on Twitter. Can't blame a goaltender for an odd man rush, but I would say maybe every now and then we could stop one. But we get in the hole because of that. 5-on-5 play is not that terrible, but it really does seem like
I would say based on the breakdowns, it's probably going to be defense that he's probably going to try and pivot and find some other players, right?
I think both. I think if a goaltender pops up, and that's where the John Gibson conversation starts, I think Steve's listening to that phone call. You've got quite a track record with John Gibson, and again, by all accounts, you've got, even with the struggles, a better defense in Detroit. So it's like a combo move here. And that could be Edvinsson getting called up, and maybe something, again, on the bottom pairings that becomes available. But I think it would make sense to look into both of these scenarios, upgrading the defense, upgrading goaltending. And I might try upgrading the goaltending first and then be more patient on what I'm going to do on the defensive side. Because it could be something where we've seen Alex Lyon do a hell of a job with the same defense in front of him. And it's not like he's going lights out. Everybody's actually commented like, oh, Lyon isn't really moving. He's stoic in net. So it is one of those things where you get the right goaltender in there, it works. And Gibson could be another one of those right goaltenders. So maybe
that's almost, I guess that almost makes the case for us, right? Where it's like Yzerman was we're gonna have four. Let's have four goalies on the roster, and I'm just gonna prove to you guys that it's the defense. Or I'm proving to you that it's the goaltending. In this kind of base control experiment. So I don't know if Lion is proving that maybe it is the goaltenders because somebody made it work.
I think that could be an argument that would, again, like I'd be like, okay, I'm cool with giving a new goaltender a shot. Like let's see what happens if we go in that direction for a wee bit. See how everything turns out. I will point out, let's do this. Let's do rates here. Expected goals for percentage, we're 19th in the league. And our expected goals against per 60 is actually 15th. We're in the top half of the league right now. So the chances we're giving up, we could actually put more chances on net. It's actually our special teams is really helping us out, obviously, on the forward side. But expected goals against per 60, 2.64, top half of the league. We're number 15, actually. So it's not like we're doing ourselves favors here, but we are in the top half of the league. It would just be nice if our goaltenders weren't in the bottom half of the league with goals saved above expected. So yeah, I think I'd want to try that out. If you're not losing too much, I don't think Anaheim is going to be the one. And we brought up the conversation because of the Berggren trade talk, and we're going to wrap up here in a second, guys. So, this is way too late. I just realized it's 11 o'clock.
I know. I got work in a couple hours.
I know. Shit. I gotta start getting ready for the day tomorrow. But yeah, I guess like the easy point to just come to is like there's been a goaltender's had success. We could try and bring up Edvinsson, and Gibson isn't going to fetch like first round picks and tons of prospects. So let's talk to Pat, see if we can do something reasonable here. We have to have that conversation with Pat where it's like, oh, come on, man. It's fucking goaltending. Like we'll help you out, and we're going to bring Gibson over here and give you a draft pick. But I mean, we're trading for a goaltender, Pat. Don't fuck us over, man. I want to give you. We're not giving you too much here, dude. Yeah, this is supposed to be our plan. This is supposed to be Steve's plan all along. Pat goes over to Anaheim. They're rebuilding. That's a place we could throw all of our garbage.
Supposed to pillage. Let us pillage.
Right. Okay. Ready to sign off into the sunset? No, that's not it. Sail off. Ride off. Yeah. I tried that at work in all my meetings, and nobody gets it. Ride off into the sunset, fellas. Wings win. Moving back in the right direction. Hopefully Tampa loses tonight. We still have a wild card spot though, right? We are the first wild card team on top of Washington. Things are still going pretty good. You got a win with no Comfer, Larkin. Let's throw Perron in there. You've got all of these different things you could try out with your prospects down Grand Rapids still. Like we haven't seen like Edvinsson doesn't work yet, so that's still out there. So we're still doing good.
The mystery that he could still be an A++.
Exactly. So that mystery still lives.
And we still have the team that's number 2 in goal scoring in the whole league. How exciting is that? And
I'm going to round up from 593. I'm going to say we're a 600 hockey team, Mike. Got that first wild card spot. This is okay. And guys, we'll be at the Carolina Hurricanes game on Thursday, me and Mike. Which, by the way, Mike, we get a cool Dominik Hasek stick if we show up early enough.
Yes.
So we got to make sure we do that. If you guys are coming to the game, hit us up on X,
Discord,
whatever, or Discord. Yeah, Michael join. He promises to join. All right, guys, it's bedtime. Go Wings! All good news today. Good thing we were able to do that. I'm in a pretty good mood right now, but we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for coming, sticking around late. Love you guys.